Space, the final frontier. Space Station Asselin sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the USS Dilamus Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dilamus Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek: Preservations.
To fleet, every ship, every weapon, everything you have. Destroy the Dilamus Christian.
Mr. Luson, evasive maneuvers.
Like literally, he's every hand on everything, hitting every button. What is the roll for that?
It's no roll. Essentially, anytime anyone attacks us now, it is an opposed task, and if we succeed, we can move in response to the attack. And the goal being is we're going to try to draw as many of the ships that still have the subspace weaponry away from Asselin Station.
You won't have to worry about that. Every vessel, to include all those weapons, are pointed directly at the DC. They are all coming for you.
Yep. So it's Daring Con assisted by Structure Con.
Okay. And so I'm rolling 2 dice.
Luson is rolling 2 dice. We have no momentum.
Okay.
Hey, Lee,
Yes, sir.
can I assist him by, say, rooting power to impulse?
Absolutely, you can.
We'll have to wait to see if he succeeds first.
Actually, Dave, what that would be, so you do the reroute power action, and that would make the DC's assist automatically a critical 1.
Okay.
Or you could try and do a normal assist.
He's got 2 successes.
So you're going to reroute power?
Yeah.
Okay. So the DC has 2 successes. And then,
All right.
Lee, I'm going to use Voice of Authority for my talent. I'm going to give you 2 more threat. But I, too, am going to roll a 1. So we get 6 successes.
All right. So you've got 6 successes, and you said the difficulty on this was...
As an opposed roll, any attacks come at us are at difficulty 6.
Are at a 6. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough.
Also, my clarification from the rules from reading it, this means that reserve power is out until I do the restore power action.
That is accurate. All right. You have no momentum, so it is the bad guy's turn. The Rama took charge. It is going to fire its weapons at the DC. It's going to go with photon torpedoes, spending 2 threat for extra dice. Actually, I have to spend 3, don't I? And I already used all his, so I can't. I can only spend 1 to get 1 extra die. All right, so we got 3 dice. That went poorly. That went very poorly. All right, so the Rama has photon torpedoes, damage of 5. I rolled 3 complications. Basically, they wipe out the shielding Klingon vessel and
The Romulan, right? Because we destroyed the Klingons.
Yeah, the Romulan vessel. They blow it out of the sky in an attempt to hit you.
So Luson totally swoops the ship behind the Talis, and the torpedoes track us right into it.
Yep. And fireball of explosion. like the camera shows you ducking behind it, like behind you towards the Rama, so you see the torpedoes coming in. As the explosions start, the camera kind of switches mid-explosion to the front where the DC comes through the flames unscathed, and it is back
Luson
to the
just like
Federation side. Yeah, and he's the Romulan should have zigged when they zagged, sir.
keep zagging, Mr. Luson.
The zaggiest. Federation, it is your actions.
So as part of the evasive actions, we're gonna move a zone away from Asselin Station
Okay.
in a way that trying to do the spatial geometry will still be likely mostly in medium range to some things, probably long range from the Talarian, but essentially trying to.
If they're trading on you, you want them to be back to Aslan Station.
Yes.
Makes sense. All right. And that was part of that action. And who's up next for the Federation side?
So that's going to be Adam.
All right, so the bird of prey is out of our way. We have a fairly good straight shot at the Rama itself, yes?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's time to try to take a shot at them. I will attempt to do a targeting solution on them. We don't have anything for momentum and threat, do we?
I have one threat.
And we are out of momentum because unfortunately we were the defender in the opposed task, so we didn't generate momentum.
I'm gonna spend one threat to get an extra die, but I am gonna do the targeting solution on them, and that puts me at 3 dice. That works. So I got 4 successes.
And the Christian rolls a 1.
That's 6.
So 6, so that's 4 more than we needed.
Mhm.
And versatile gives us 6 momentum, and you get 1 momentum for intense. So we've got 7 momentum right now. We're doing 5 damage. A non-ablative armor saber class ship would have a resistance of 4. I don't know how the Rama's kitted out.
The Rama has 6 resistance.
So it too has ablative armor?
Yes.
All right. Right now, we're currently doing no damage to it, Adam.
Okay, so how much of the momentum we have left?
We've got 7 momentum.
Yep.
So we'd need to spend at least 4 to do a pip of damage.
Right.
And then each one would do a second shield box.
Now, if we do any damage at all, are we rolling for a system? Okay.
No, we have to take their shields down to
Understood.
25%
Got it.
before we start doing breaches.
Got it. But yeah, so I guess let's just do the 2 extra to do to get the pip of damage and then bank the rest of the momentum.
Okay. So we'll take the 5 momentum.
Yeah.
And do 7 damage. Oh no. We've got Lacey's scanned for weakness, so we get +2 right there.
Oh.
So we're actually going to do 3 pips of damage. See, this is where sensors like target there.
All right.
Look, I'm helping.
Yeah. You saved us 4 momentum.
The green ships turn away from the battle and start flying away. They're currently at full impulse, but they're leaving the field of combat.
I will let them go.
Be aware that there was at least one of the hybrids on each green vessel.
I can't have simply over open comms said every individual has their choice and then shoot them in the back when they choose to not be hostile. So
What? You mean a person in command of folks can't just randomly change their mind at random intervals for no apparent reason?
one of my values is Starfleet is more than the uniform. So
I love it. I love it.
I gotta let them go.
Yep, I hear you. Crazy though it may sound. All right, so the green vessels are going around. You've got some dead in the water vessels, and I think
I give Koloth of House Qatar weapons hot.
it is, however, the bad guys at this moment.
Yep.
The Talarian vessel comes to bear against the DC, they are going to fire. Actually, they are going to do the minor action calibration as well, and they will not succeed. So they're not calibrated, but they do not get a complication.
No, calibration just happens automatically.
Oh, it happens.
The
Okay.
minor-
All right. They will fire. Dang it. They only get one success, but they also get a complication. That complication is their weapon, while they were turning on their disruptors and bringing the bear and firing, it drained their weapons. Where they would be at 50% right now, they are still at 25%. On your screen, Lacey, you're able to see that the power is going up, but as they're firing their weapons, it goes down. Those weapons did not hit. Separate to the action of the event, if you'd like to analyze the data that's coming through on the sensors, I would give you a difficulty of 2 to pick out some additional details here that might provide some benefit to the team.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Is that a control science?
So you're operating the sensors, the data was already gained, and you're watching things happen. The sensors are recording it. So there's more of an analysis. So it's however you would interpret the information you've got in front of it at a rapid pace. I would actually just give you the details if you were like studying the records of a battle. In this case, it's because it's happening live. You're seeing a lot of things happening all at once. And this is your shot to pick out some critical details and provide that to the team.
Okay. So it sounds more like a reason. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say reason.
Okay. And could it also be a daring science as we're fast paced?
Yeah, I could go with daring.
Okay.
Because you're seeing a lot of data. You're making some daring leaps of logic to connect the dots and come up with some theories here.
Also maybe risky looking. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the space, that other voices, other commands.
Absolutely. So you're going to give me some threat while we're at it?
Yeah, it's just a daring.
Okay.
So I got 2 successes.
And also, you have the untapped potential talent. So go ahead and roll your d20 to see if you get bonus momentum.
That was a 12. Sorry, I haven't used untapped potential very much. What do I have to?
If you roll equal to or less than your chosen attribute, you gain 1 bonus momentum. Otherwise, you add a threat. So what's your daring?
My daring's an 8.
So you had a threat?
Yeah.
No good.
Yeah. Love it.
That's what happens when you're just like some scrummy little science officer who.
To be fair, this is in fact your first terrifying space battle you've probably ever been in.
Yeah, for sure.
Mistakes were made. Yeah, so what you're able to pick out is pretty easy, that at least with this ship, they chose to tie in this big weapon to their weapon system's power generation, right? So if weapons are what they use the most power for on the ship, that's what it's tied into. Analyzing the rest of the data, it seems like whatever a given polity ship's primary thing that they do is, that's where the weapon's power is being derived from. So whatever a ship would focus on, if you breach that system, that would shut down the weapon. So with proper analysis of the vessels, you could tell what systems to target.
Okay. And that would be a scan kind of thing, right?
So because all the ships are known to you and they all have traits and mission profiles, as long as you're aware of their mission profile, you would know what system they're primarily focused on, so you would know what to use in that particular case.
Oh, okay.
So with that, what do you tell the rest of the crew?
So I'll share. I think we should be able to target where each ship is pulling their energy for the weapons from, potentially disabling that.
Send that information to Tactical, Lieutenant.
Will do, sir.
And that brings it back to the enemy, correct?
No, because that was a bonus thing you had Lace pick up the information for Nilan. So I think it's her turn, and she can either probably scan for additional effect weakness.
Okay. I'll scan. This is control science. And you said difficulty 2, is it, right?
Yep.
Yep.
But you have an assist from the ship as well, which is
Um,
sensor science or sensor security. Did you get at least one success?
I did. I rolled a 1.
Oh,
I also
good. So,
rolled a 19 if there's.
now you're good.
Okay.
So you got 2, and the DC rolled a 4, which is equal to its security rating. So it too has a critical success. We got 4 successes, so we get the bonus to damage and 2 momentum to bank.
Sweet. So that leaves us with 2 momentum, 2 threat, and it's back to the enemies. Your green vessels that were leaving combat, they turn tail and they run. They are now moving to warp and escaping the system. And back to the Federation.
Very good. I'm going to use the direct action to direct Lieutenant Alana to fire a full spread of quantum torpedoes at the Rama.
Ooh, quantum torpedoes, a full spread. That requires giving me 3 threat, right?
Yep.
So what's our front momentum count right now?
2.
You're at 2 momentum, 5 threat.
Okay, and the difficulty for torpedoes is
3.
okay. By the way, Joe, you know how you said you wanted some Bajoran resistance tactics earlier?
Yep.
When you said you couldn't fire on the people who were going, I was so tempted to say I could. Didn't though,
Probably best for your career prospects.
probably.
Yeah. I think we will count that as a challenged value for Lieutenant.
Her value is I follow the example of the emissary. So she did follow the example of the emissary there.
Actually, I've seen the emissary do some pretty
That's true.
off the cuff shit. Like
I mean,
that.
he did
That's
punch
a weird
Q
one.
in the face.
Yeah, and under similar circumstances, the emissary would typically throw down. So I think we can successfully say that is a value challenge for Alana.
Mm-hmm. In any case, I'm going to spend a momentum for an extra dice.
All right.
Unfortunately, I do not have a focus in torpedoes.
Can't win them all.
Yep. And this is control security. Oh my. 4, 8, 12. That's 4 successes.
So the DC assists,
Mhm.
it rolls a 12, which succeeds. And my assisting from the direction is a 2. So that's a critical success. So you've got 3 successes from assist, and you said
4 for me.
that's 7?
So 4 total over the top of what it takes to succeed.
Correct.
All
And
right.
then real quick, you did the calibrate weapon minor task, right?
I would have, yes.
Yeah. Okay. The quantum torpedoes base damage is a 4 plus 2 for the DC. So it's a 6. It's 7 with the calibrated weapon and 8, 9 with Lacey's scan for weakness. So we're doing 9 damage currently.
And the resistance is 6, so 3 damage. Am I reading that right?
Correct. So we started with 2 momentum. We generated 4, right?
Yep.
So that's 7 momentum left. And
No,
then,
because Dave spent a die, so you
Okay.
had 1. You
Okay,
just
1.
got 4, so you have a
Okay.
total of 5.
so we got a total of 5. Oh, this was a torpedo spread. I think it adds 1 damage. So we're actually doing 10 damage from the spread. So 4 gets through resistance.
Yep. 10 out of 16 remains.
And we've got the 5 momentum. So the thing with quantum torpedoes is they have the intense weapon quality. So it's a 1-for-1 spend.
Okay.
So we're going to spend all 5 momentum to add 5 more damage.
And I was wrong. I was looking at the wrong sheet. I was ticking boxes on the wrong saber class. The shields on the Rama are 15 out of 16. They have 3 shields left after you spending out for the quantum damage.
So that takes them below the 75% mark, right?
Correct.
So that does a breach, and because the torpedoes are high yield, they
No.
do potent 2 breaches.
Okay.
So,
So-
Dave, you want to roll me a d20 for system?
Very gladly. 8.
8 would be sensors, Lee.
All right. And the second system?
Let me roll again. 14.
14 is a structure.
The breach of the structure and the sensors, the Rama is hurting. Because they never left the comms, you can see them on the screen. That set of hits sends like the engineering station on your sister ship just explodes. Lights in the ceiling drop down, and there's wires dangling and conduits like popping and sparking and arcing. There's smoke. Emergency lighting comes on.
Lee, do you want to roll for the shaking effect?
Sure. And what am I rolling on for that?
You're rolling on the 1 to 18 table that's on page 308. So if you roll a 19 or 20, re-roll.
That's a 3.
So that they are braced for impact on the ship's next turn. They may not take a major action as all the crew's getting recovered.
Okay. Yeah, so they're definitely trying to recover, but amidst the smoke, you see a hand pulling himself up to the captain's chair, looking at the chair itself, which is like damaged clearly beyond repair. And he walks to an ops station and he looks at the camera, and you can see only one of his two eyes is glowing that Epsilon purple.
Stand down, Stevens. Don't make me do this.
He looks at you and he says, Pritchard left me to die, and his children are gonna have to finish the job. And you can see he's busy jamming on the keys of that station. It's pretty obvious to you, Tanari, that he's bringing control to that station. Whether the ship has enough personnel or anything to do that, as he's doing that, you can see the Epsilon creature slough out of him as it is dead.
Does the ship
And-
have any shields left?
So it has 3 points left in shield. So out of his 15, and that's like what?
20%.
20%.
Can I beam through that?
I'll let you beam through, but your complication range is going to be 5.
Okay.
So that's a 2 with complication of 5.
Yep. I want to. What was his name? Richard.
So really quickly, so
Steven.
Lee, I want to spend my determination point to create the effect that is true, that they never got around to changing the shield harmonics code. And because Nerlina was on board the Rama at one point, Tobor keys in the shield frequency harmonics down to Tanari and gives him the O'Brien through the shields. It's as though the shields are down.
Okay. Your
What's our threat
complication
moment?
range is only a 1.
What's our threat momentum total?
We've
There
got
is
2
0
momentum.
Yeah, 2 momentum, and there's 5 threat.
All right. I'll spend 1 momentum, 2 threat for 2 dice,
Yeah.
and daring engineering
Okay.
and procedural compliance to get 1 automatic success.
Yep.
15, 8, 8, 11 with procedural compliance. That's 4 successes.
Okay.
And my assist
And-
from the DC,
An 8 for the DC for 1 success.
5. Can we count Tobor handing me the?
No, that was my determination was what lets you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can, however, we get our science officer to give me an assist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Lacey, you want to? Yeah, I would say probably control sensors, or actually even a daring sensors, because he's doing some Tanari stuff right now.
You said you want me to roll daring.
Daring science.
Daring science.
All right. 1 success.
All right. So that gives you a total of how many successes?
I believe
Dave?
that's 6.
6. Yep. Okay.
And it would be a
And-
difficulty 2 for site to
Yep.
site.
Yep. So that's 4.
So where are you transporting him, Dave?
Transporter room 1. Make sure I have security with me.
Okay. They hold him in the buffers until you get there.
Yeah.
With him off the bridge,
I will, by the way,
Yep.
immediately tap the comm badge. Captain, I have Stevens in the transporter buffer.
I just watch him dematerialize off the bridge of the Rama through the comms.
There's like a little bit of rage in Ocean's eyes when he sees the quarry disappear.
In this moment, To give you an idea of what's going on in the scene, he was the last person, and it's very clear as you're taking in the scope of the battle that Species Epsilon had a plan. They were using people to help them achieve that goal. Stevens had a whole separate thing going on. He was really using them for his goals, and they were good as long as they were in concert. But as this was playing out, that came into conflict. And that last big hit with the quantum torpedoes put Stevens in charge, and it was pretty clear what he was going for.
He was activating the Genesis device.
Actually, because he was at an op station, the way the screen is there, you can see he had locked course on the Dilamus Christian, and he was trying to move all power to engines. He was going to ram. Looking at that, Lusang looks back at the captain with one of his rear-facing eyes, and he says, "Yeah, he was never going to hit us."
So I have Steven wideband all channels. We have Stevens. He's no longer aboard the Rama. No more people have to die this day.
In these moments, you know that Jar and his crew are on the Harrington. They're working on that situation. The Klingons have caught up with some of the other vessels. They have boarded the vessels and they are isolating folks. What's interesting is they don't appear to know anything about Epsilon protocols per se, but just looking at the reports that are coming through and the logs, they do seem to know something about staying away from Klingons with the purple eyes. So why they would know, that's a whole thing you might have to look into, but they seem to understand that. But these are not bloodthirsty Klingons. They are actually out there just containing threats. There's some fighting, there's some blood, don't get me wrong. They're not soft. But their goal is not to murder everybody on the ship. Their goal is to capture. They are doing their thing, and basically the battle piece is over. We cut to the transporter room. Tanari and a security detail is there, and Tanari.
All right, once this,
Stevens is there, and you can see him. He just, as soon as he materializes, his hand pushes down like he was about to hit the button, and obviously there's nothing there, and you just see the futility and the absolute loss in his face, and he just crumples to the ground, and you can see him just there in his torn, tattered Starfleet uniform, just sobbing.
also, once I see what shape he's in, I'm going to call down for a medical team as well.
He looks up at you.
What rank was Stevens?
He was an ensign at the time. Because he was believed killed in action, he was actually posthumously promoted to Lieutenant JG.
Okay. I will look at him and say, "Are you well enough to walk on your own?"
Why? Why would I want to? What do I have left? You will rob me of my life. Tobor and the rest of you have robbed me of my purpose. What do I actually have left?
I'll actually kneel down next to him. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. You're alive. That's what counts.
And he turns and you see this gaping wound in the back of his neck. And he says, "Someone told me the very same thing 2 months after you all picked me out of a brain prison colony and threw me to the wolves." And he stands up.
I'll actually look at him.
He has a fairly pronounced limp.
I'll look at him and say, "And I'm sorry about that. We made a mistake. I can't go back and change that. All we can do is move forward."
Then I guess I'll take this step. And he steps towards the door in a way allowing you to lead. Obviously, security's watching him, like they're kind of like
right.
They expected. There's this one guy standing there with shackles. What's actually happening here? Normally, determination is given in a way that it is only good for that one event, but we are right at the close of this episode. Please note that you, Tanari, are going to start with an extra determination for the next session.
Okay.
I will be perfectly honest with you. That is not what I expected. You said I've got him and I'll meet him, and I absolutely am here for it. That was awesome. And so that scene closes as you go. The battle is going to be collected up. Before we close the actual scene, it is important to note that no weapon got fired. And one weapon was just over 75. The rest got to about 50. You did stop them in plenty of time. And nobody on the Asselin Station was harmed. You guys caught everything in time. I'm going to go around. This is the aftermath of the battle. Everybody gets a scene of what they're going to do on the ship in the immediate. Ocean, what would you like to be doing in the immediate aftermath of the battle?
So I'm probably going to start collecting the damage reports, start bringing the shuttles back in, make sure that we have somebody watch, the scans are happening around the perimeter. Basically just, I don't want to say policing the area, but just that mentality of just making sure that all the birds are coming back to the nest, checking status reports, making sure the folks in the away team, if any of them that were injured, let the med team know that they'll be receiving folks.
Okay. And Lacey?
Without other specific instructions, I would be probably checking to make sure that nothing got damaged, even though we weren't blown to pieces, but also make sure that there's nothing strange happening in any of the units and checking in around the ship.
As you're doing that, and there's no voice to this, but on your screen, you basically are being communicated to by the Epsilon protocol, who has been very quiet through all of this, but mostly because nothing actually came onto the ship. And the Epsilon protocol says, Lieutenant, would you care for me to use my scanning capabilities to clear any and all craft of and identify individuals that have been prepared for Species Epsilon or already inhabited by Species Epsilon?
Was so suspicious. Um, I I do feel like I would normally not be the one interacting with the protocol, so I actually would grab one of our companions to.
As you are about to do that, Epsilon Protocol says, Lieutenant, you're a bridge officer. You were keying commands to make sure your ship and your crew were safe. Everything 100% in keeping with the commander's orders. I'm asking, would you like some assistance in that task?
Oh my God. Um, this as a player feels weird to me because I haven't actually interacted, but would my character have interacted with Epsilon?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. I'm not
That
taking the
he
bait.
it is largely a security protocol and has
Right.
always been. This is a new direction for it. Not only that, it largely communicates in the open and out loud. The fact that it is
Telling me
basically
secrets.
writing words is it's passing secret notes in class. It is clearly trying not to get caught.
Yeah. Major red flags. Yeah, I'm going to discreetly get another officer to.
One of the
Probably
officers
the captain. I would probably call the captain
okay. You're right on the bridge,
or
so like
Ocean.
yeah, they're both right there. So you can you can lean over and talk to them or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
however you want to handle that.
I would lean over to probably not super loud, alarmy to either whoever's closer between Ocean and our fearless.
Yeah,
Probably
because
be Ocean at this point, I think.
no, it'd be me because she's at the back
Science
science
station.
station.
Yep.
He's at the forward tactical, and I'm in the
Okay.
center bridge chair.
So yeah, I'll lean over and be like, "Sir, so there's a strange thing I'd like to bring to your attention. It's raising some red flags for me.
Oh, what is that, Lieutenant?
Epsilon is contacting me to offer assistance, and I have never had any reason to interact with Epsilon in this way."
And this is the first time your duties and orders are overlapping with its programming. It doesn't have much to offer in the way of researching science stuff normally.
That's true, but you don't feel like it's a little strange that it's privately messaging me instead of a more open mode of communication?
There's a lot going on, and it's only your duty station.
Right, noted. So I'll take that vote of confidence.
Are your senses telling you something?
It does feel a little weird to me, for sure.
Oh, I forgot your beta. So it is
Well,
very
and with the
clear.
ESP talent.
Yeah, so it is very clear that Epsilon Protocol is being a bit duplicitous, but not dangerously.
Not
There's it,
malicious, probably.
yeah, it has some ulterior motives, but it also seems to be enjoying your nervousness a little too much to be comfortable.
I hate that so much.
Yeah,
You know.
it just went from mischievous to creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little too far on the narcissist scale.
that escalated quite quickly. So if I don't feel like it's malicious, and the captain said it's okay, so maybe I'll allow a little help while being extra conscious and keyed into any interactions and what's happening.
So it is definitely scanning all of the local ships. It is very focused on the Harrington, and it is funneling information to Najar specifically and his team secondarily so that they know who and what they're encountering and who and what and where to isolate. They will be providing some assistance in that regard.
Seem like good things.
Yeah, like I said, ulterior motives.
Maybe I have trust issues.
It is entirely possible. Being best friends with Tanari will give you trust issues. Not because Tanari's the
Like
one
the
giving you trust issues,
conspiracy
because
theories are rubbing off.
yeah, because he trusts almost no one. Except for
Ah,
Ferengi and his crew. Take that for what it is.
slander.
All right, and Tanari, how about you? How are you handling this post-battle situation?
First of all, as part of my responsibility, have the crew doing a stem to stern inspection of the DC.
Yep.
I know we didn't take a lot of damage, just make sure it's all right. And then when that's done, see if we can't beam over to the Rama and get a look at this weapon.
Okay. And Commander Tobor.
Once everything's secured enough, I'm gonna leave Ocean in charge and transport over to Asselin Station and meet with Pritchard to figure out what's going on. Cards on the table time.
All right. And with that, this denouement part of the episode is basically a montage of your characters doing those things. Ocean collecting the reports, reviewing them, talking with them. It's more of a silent thing at this point, but you can see that he's directing the ships coming back, people checking in. You're able to direct the science resources to help the cleanup, identify some of these species that Epsilon will certainly try to sneak away. And other than the one that got away during the main part of the battle, nothing else gets away. You're able to successfully facilitate the capture of these creatures because with the help of the Epsilon protocol. Through the course of this, when it's all said and done, like I said, yours is more of a montage of you typing things. The Epsilon light will go off. You'll direct something to some section, and you can see that species Epsilon are being captured. However, other than the silence that's in most of this scene, it does end with the Epsilon protocol saying, "Thank you. I know a little bit more about them now." And Tanari, you're directing your teams, you're checking things out, you're looking at a camera where a worker bee's going along the outside where you did get hit. A little scorch mark, no damage of any kind. You're able to even have some of your team direct some resources towards identifying problems with some of the other ships who did take some damage, things of that nature. And you're preparing to go to the Rama for a more full inspection. Just as you're about to do that, you are, however, given a stand down order from ROC, which says, Lieutenant Tenari, we'll take over the investigation of the Rama. Thank you. And then there's a handwritten message that is replicated and brought to your desk. And this handwritten message says, we can't ensure that there's any ability to protect your telepathic rights on the Rama. We'll make sure you don't have to address any matters there.
Oh,
And as Commander Tobor steps into the office of Commodore Pritchard, the Commodore who's in charge of the ROC is standing there. A folder and some paperwork kind of face down on the desk. And you see a duffel bag inside of the door. You recognize that duffel bag as Pritchard's. And you notice that Pritchard has taken some very personal items from his desk and he has them in his hands. He looks at you and he says, Asselin Station is now under the command of the ROC. And he hands you a small black box and he says, Captain Tobor,
Commodore?
the Dilamus Christian is no longer a ship that you command in my name. She is wholly and completely your ship, Captain. He opens the box in 4 pips. And he steps out of the office and 2 security personnel escorting him and not in a friendly way. And thus ends the episode.